Welcome back, continuing the news. As Jamaicans prepare to vote in a general election, public perception of the People's National Party and its president, Dr. Peter Phillips, remains low. That's the latest findings of the RGR Gleaner Don Anderson poll. Now, Vashan Brown joins us live in studio to give us the details. Vashan.
Thank you so much, Herman. Now, the PNP and its president have been struggling in the polls since last year, March. Now, despite the low performance ratings for both the People's National Party and its president this time around, there is a slight improvement in the ratings. Now, the poll was done from July 24 to August 3. 1,071 persons, all registered voters, were interviewed from all parishes across the island. In February this year, when the poll was conducted, 57% of the respondents said the opposition's performance was either poor or very poor. Now, in this latest poll, 42.6% of the respondents gave the opposition a poor performance rating.
14 percentage points less rated the PNP poorly than they did in February of 2020. So what's the corresponding period in terms of the positives? We had in February 14 percentage points, 14% of the people we interviewed who rated the PNP in a very positive way. That number goes up to 16%. So there's a little better positive perception of the PNP.
Some people also rated the opposition's performance as average.
We had in February 29% who rated the People's National Party as average performance. On this occasion, the majority of those persons who moved from either positive or negative went to the average. So that 41% now give the PNP an average rating. You take comfort from it depending on where you are. The People's National Party will want to say that 41% and that 16% gives me a 57% average to good rating.
But how do people view the man who leads the People's National Party? In the February 2020 poll, 62% said his performance was either poor or very poor. In this latest poll, 45.9% said he was performing poorly or very poorly. In the February 2020 poll, only 14% of the respondents gave Dr. Peter Phillips a positive performance rating, meaning good or very good. That number has moved up to 16 in this latest poll. In the meantime, Jamaicans were also asked to list the best performing opposition spokesperson. Like he did in the February 2020 poll, the man who challenged Dr. Phillips in the PNP's leadership race, Peter Bunting, tops the list of best performing spokespersons. Back in February, 10% of the respondents said he was the best performing spokesperson. Now, 22.3% of the respondents in this latest poll felt that Mr. Bunting was the best performing. Lisa Hanna, Fitz Jackson, Marco Golding and Julian Robinson were also on the list of best performing spokespersons. As for the worst performing spokespersons, Lisa Hanna topped that list. 14.9% of the respondents listed her as the worst performing. Peter Bunting, Anthony Hilton, Fenton Ferguson and Dr. Maurice Guy were also included in the top 5 worst performing spokespersons.
All right, Vashan, now, one thing I noticed a while ago, you said some spokespersons were listed both as the best performing spokesperson and the worst. How is that?
So, Herman, what we did for this poll was to ask 2 separate open-ended questions. So the first question was, who do you think is the best performing spokesperson? All respondents answered that question. When the figures were calculated, 22.3% said Peter Bunting was the best performing. Now, for the second question, the respondents were asked, who is the worst performing spokesperson? Again, using Peter Bunting as an example, 11.1% of the people listed him as the worst performing. So it's important to note here that those who listed Peter Bunting as the best performing spokesperson are not necessarily those who listed him as the worst performing. Another issue, Herman, did come up in this latest poll, and that is unity in the PNP.
This is a question which the PNP obviously needs to address, but basically 72% of all persons interviewed in the July poll felt that the People's National Party was not a united party. 28% said yes, they were united. Now, this differs a little bit from the February poll because we had a lot of no comment in the February poll, but we pinned people down now. But in general, the view was negative.
So how do Jamaicans rate the performance of the government? Well, you can find out the answer to that question tomorrow, and on Wednesday, we will release the results of the big one, party standings.
All right, good. I know that's what everybody's looking forward to. All right, thank you very much. Vashan Brown there with a very comprehensive assessment of the RGR Gleaner Don Anderson polls. Janella?